Just before the pilgrims reach a grassy knoll, they get the sense that there is danger ahead, and Cater thanks his crossbow of warning. Jack jumps into action, casting Blade Ward and Resist Poison on each of them. Before he gets to Nyx, the druid says,
"Don't touch me,"
Okay, everyone but you gets Blade Ward.
says Jack.
"You have to ask first if you are going to touch me.
There's no time.
There's time enough for this conversation."
Meanwhile, Perrin and Cator try to hide behind a tree and observe the enemy beyond the hill. Cator sees a group of humanoids trying to dig under a boulder, or perhaps move it out of the way, while a green dragon stands guard or perhaps supervises them from afar. Perrin peeks out to see, but the pair had not been as quiet as they hoped, and when Perrin looks, he sees the green dragon staring directly at him.
"Oh shit!"
He shouts as he gets back behind cover. Thoraxia sneaks up on the other side, avoiding the dragon's gaze, and lets Jack see the dragon alert the humanoids, who draw bows and some of them wearing robes begin weaving magical signs in the air. Perrin casts black tentacles at the ground near the boulder. Hundreds of tentacles spring up, trip the humanoids, and try to crush them into the dirt. The dragon breathes green mist that rolls over the hill, and Cator coughs.
What kind of damage is that?
Shouts Jack from behind.
"It burns when I breathe the gas,"
Cator shouts back. One humanoid escapes the patch of ground only to get shot in the shoulder by Cator's arrow. And then Elsa jumps out and punches it in the jaw, making its head spin backwards with a sickening snap. Velencil, running almost silently to follow Thoraxia, takes out her bow and tries to shoot the dragon, realizing it is a bigger threat than the humanoids. Her bow whispers,
"Swift death to our enemies.
to which she responds.
Swift death to those who have wronged me."
Velencil misses, but remains unseen by the dragon. She runs toward the boulder, jumping over some tentacles and trying to use them as stepping stones to get higher up. Perrin casts Leomund's tiny hut and retreats to safety inside. Arrows from Robin and Silifrey kill some of the humanoids as they struggle with the tentacles. Having less prey to focus on, the tentacles become more violent, crushing the remaining ones and Velencil and mangling their corpses. Thoraxia nearly dies as well, but Jack casts a protective shield around her and she rolls to safety. Bjorn charges headlong into the dragon and it charges at him as well. They meet in a violent burst of metal, claw and tooth. Jack sends his arcane ward to protect Bjorn, but the ravenous dragon tears through it and Bjorn's armor. He slams into the ground, coughing up blood, tries to stand, and then the dragon stabs him with another claw and he falls down unmoving. Cator and Elsa attack the dragon, throwing caution to the wind. In response, it charges Cator and bites down hard on his shoulder, making his arm go limp. While it is distracted by Elsa's attacks, Cator runs away and gets inside Perrin's magical hut. Elsa grabs Bjorn and drags him into the hut as well. She tries to pour a potion of healing down his throat, but it has no effect. Cator tries to cast Lesser Restoration and cure wounds, but the magic does nothing. Bjorn is dead. Nyx casts Thunderbolt, and a streak of lightning comes down from the sky, briefly making the dragon's face glow red before its head pops and its body falls limp. Very proud of himself, Nyx jumps around gleefully, then rushes to loot the corpses. Jack watches as the black tentacles evaporate, leaving churned earth slick with blood.
4, 5, 6? Why are there 6 humanoid corpses? There were only 5 of the reptilian humanoids digging at the boulder. Wait, where's Velencil?
Jack rushes over just in time to see Nyx grab a sack of gold coins from a badly mangled corpse and move on to the next. In the mud nearby, Jack sees an elvish ear with a bit of hair matching Velencil's. He grabs Thoraxia and hurries inside Perrin's hut, informing the others. Meanwhile, Cator closed Bjorn's eyes. Perrin used magic to dig a grave, and the two of them buried their friend. Cator gathered some twigs and folded them into the same holy symbol that Bjorn wore and prayed to, and he used it to mark the grave. During the burial, the voice of Elsa rang out.
"Chop off his pinky, that's all we need to bring him back. Oh, and take his stuff too, he'll want his sword when he gets back." "No, Nyx, we're not taking his penis."
Perrin and Cator defend the grave, Perrin says.
"Do you really think the gods he served would allow him to come back? Do you really think he wants to?"
Cator, with tears running down his face, stands up and shouts loudly.
Stop! Shut up! This isn't one of those fairy tales where everyone lives. Bjorn's dead and he's never coming back. Resurrection doesn't exist outside of the stories mothers tell their babies to calm them. Real life isn't all sunshine and rainbows. We screwed up and he paid the price.
A silence falls over the group, but only for a moment.
Actually, resurrection magic is fairly common at wizard colleges. It is difficult to master. But if we find someone who knows how to do it, then it shouldn't cost much more than 1,000 gold and an afternoon's patience,
Says Jack. Then a squelching sound turns everyone's heads to the corpse of the green dragon. Nyx had climbed down the neck hold into the stomach, found a solid mass of heated copper and electrum slightly sparking with electricity, and scrambled back out again, making the wound smack closed after him.
I don't think we can take any coins from the belly of the beast, but Kator can probably skin the thing.
Eager to be away from conversation, Kator pulls out 2 knives and begins carving into the scales. Jack attempts to help by using a spell that allows some invisible servants to work with the same skill as someone nearby. Meanwhile, Perrin gathers the pieces of Valenseal and buries her next to Bjorn, marking her grave with a symbol of Evereska. He takes her things and her backpack inside the tiny hut. The party start to smell the corpses as flies begin eating,
This is probably going to attract scavengers.
says Elsa. Everyone except Kaitor rushes into the hut once they start seeing wolves appear from out of the forest. The ranger tries desperately to rip off a wing from the dragon, something so that Bjorn's death was not in vain. But with only one good arm, he is not strong enough. A pair of giant eyes comes out of the darkness, and Kator sees a massive wolf, 25 feet tall at the shoulder, slowly approaching. He runs back to the hut and jumps inside, wincing from the pain of falling on his wound. The wolves eat the corpses that are not buried. The giant one eats the dragon corpse. When it is done, it sniffs the ground, pauses briefly at the graves, then again at the entrance to the hut. It pisses all over the magical hut, poops nearby, then goes back into the forest, followed by the smaller wolves. Nyx bursts outside, getting covered in piss, and dives into the poop pile, hoping in vain for something that remains of the dragon. But there is nothing. Kator heals himself with magic and steps outside. He resists the urge to loot with Nyx, but does stand by to observe if any danger approaches, or if Nyx finds anything. Perrin shoves a map out of the magical hut and tells Kator to copy down the important details. Valenseal's map indicates that Karen Quartz is in the southern forest temple, in the heart of the red infection zone. Kator briefly gets angry that Perrin had looted Valenseal, but the wizard explains he is going to send the equipment back to his mother so she can return it to Valenseal's family.
You can't come back in the hut, though. I'm not letting wolf piss and poop in here,
Says Perrin. Once Nyx abandons the search, Kator lights the pile of poop on fire, knowing it will burn all night and the scent will keep smaller things away. He goes into a resting trance by the graves while Nyx falls asleep near the warmth of the fire and the other pilgrims sleep comfortably inside the hut. Thoraxia tucks Jack into his bedroll before making a small web for the night. After their sleep, the magical hut was dry and the pilgrims investigated the boulder. It had fractures throughout it, and the red fungus plague was spreading out from a hole the boulder had been in. Down the hole is a hallway with cut stone brick walls. One wall of the hallway is entirely red fungus. Kator suggests using this opportunity to attack the fungus from afar with various spells to see if it has any weaknesses. Jack tries necrotic damage, but finds it doesn't do any damage at all. They try to light the entire tunnel on fire and then cover the opening with dirt. Through their efforts, many spores escape. Perrin begins using Gust to move the spores around in circles, laughing. Kator begs him to stop and to bury the spores, which he does after a moment. Perrin goes into the forest while Jack's invisible servants finish filling in the tunnel. When he returns, his lizard, Jeff, has sparkly, vibrant wings. Jeff speaks to Perrin psychically, using a British accent, while moving his lizard mouth and making lizard noises, which Nyx understands completely and Robin partially understands. After an argument between Nyx and Jeff, the rest of the pilgrims catch on and accept that Perrin has taken Jeff as a familiar. Jack investigates Valenseal's amulet necklace and finds that it is a communication device between devout worshippers. Perrin, refusing to change his mind about the drow, offers to use the evil magical book from Chum Bucket's lair instead of the amulet necklace.
I can use this to make a deal with something powerful, and it might allow me to communicate across oceans. And
Are you a dumb bitch? 'Cause you're being a dumb bitch.
shouts Nix. Jeff gets defensive and flies away for a sneak attack, while the rest of the group focus on Perrin and try to convince him to stop. His response is to open the book and brazenly flip through the book. Through the shouting, Kaito hears Perrin say,
lesser of two evils?
and responds with,
What's the other evil? We're choosing between an evil book and literally not an evil book.
Jeff puts a crown of poop and leaves on Nix's head, but he doesn't notice in the heat of the argument.
Just wait a few minutes, Perrin. Let me ask the gods what we should do.
Nix falls asleep and has a vision. Karen Quartz, high in a tower with red fungus crawling up the walls toward her. Nix sees Alec Azam naked, on his hands and knees, getting paddled by a large black woman, both of them enjoying the experience. Then Nix sees Chumbucket's book, and inside the book a world of fire, death, and destruction. The same scene from the Golden Five's fight against Temorglum. The same scene of Four Corners that Jack and Kater saw. The same scene of Everesca that Perrin saw, but he sees it at his home, the forest and the swamp, gnomes having their innards torn out by shadowy demons. Then Nix hears the voice of Silanifer calling to him.
Go back, you must. Not safe, this is.
Nix jolts awake and says,
Karen is running out of time. If we don't go to her first, she'll be dead before we can get to her.
Perrin calms down a bit and tosses his signet ring to Jack. Jack identifies the enchantment as a tracking device, and Silafrey explains that it was given by Perrin's mother, and Velensil was using the necklace to communicate with her because the Queen could use the ring to find Perrin and direct Velensil toward him. Jack confirms the signet ring can only be used by members of Perrin's bloodline.
Velensil was chosen for this task because she had expert knowledge of this forest from before the Red Plague. I was chosen for my abilities to disappear in the shadows,
Says Silafrey. Finally, the pilgrims agree to put the book away and head toward the river so they can approach the temple from the water, so they can minimize how far they have to travel in the infected zone. While walking, Jack says,
If resurrection makes a perfect copy instead of actually bringing back the person, does it even matter? Materially, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference, but philosophically, is one better than the other?
Kator hears a whistling sound and shouts.
Duck down! Arrows!
Just before an extra-large crossbow bolt slams into a tree and splits the wood. The pilgrims see in the distance a gnoll with a boar on a chain. He releases the boar and they both charge. Behind them, near the edge of the river, an ogre reloads his oversized crossbow, while another splashes around trying to save a raft from the strong current.
My raft.
The ogre pouts.
Don't bother with the raft. Shoot the fuckers.
Shouts the other ogre, firing another shot.
But I like my raft.
Replies the wet ogre. Nix casts Tidal Wave, smashing the raft and injuring both ogres. They fire in retaliation and hit Jack. The first bolt grazes him, and his arcane ward flares, sparing him any injury, but the second tears a section of skin and flesh from his midriff. He stumbles, clutching at the open wound and trying to get more distance between him and his enemies. Thoraxia races away and jumps onto Kator's back, ready to assist in a pinch. Kator's first arrow glances off the charging boar with no effect, and he begins to back away. Robin flies by on her broom and drops her bow next to the ranger. Perrin uses Scorching Ray, and both ogres jump into the river to put out the fire, but are quickly swept away by the powerful northward current. As the boar charges closer, Kator grabs the bow, knocks 2 arrows, and fires at the beast, who is scant feet from him. Before his eyes, the boar stumbles and transforms into a humanoid shape. Its limbs half transformed as it crashes into Kator, cuts him with sharp tusks and heavy hooves, followed by a human bite on the elf's shoulder armor. Thoraxia jumps into action, biting the man, then realizing he is already dead. She looks down to see the corpse has knocked Kator into the grass, and she was lucky not to be crushed underneath the elf. Perrin uses another Scorching Ray, this time focusing all the beams of fire on the knoll, turning it to ash. In the aftermath, Kator examines the boar man and discovers it was once a man who was bitten by a boar and became a wereboar. Nervously, he checks his shoulder, then lets out a breath once he realizes the bite mark didn't make it through the leather. The pilgrims set up a fire and cook pot near a dock that is significantly taller than the water level, while Perrin casts spells on some trees. He fabricates a large mechanical contraption shaped like a duck, made from wood, with seating enough for the whole party, and legs long enough so not even the tall dock would allow them to mount the machine without climbing. Its wide wooden feet plunge into the water, and its enormous weight holds it in place despite the rushing water. Perrin grabs some handlebars, sits on a seat, and begins pedaling and moving the hard grips forward and backward. In response, the giant wooden duck lifts a leg and takes a step forward, then another, and then walks smoothly at a leisurely pace. Perrin reverses his pedaling and rests the machine by the dock.
How did you get the knees to move like that without collapsing? Is that thing alive? What powers it? How fast can it go? Where did you learn this spell? Can all mages do this?
Kaitor pesters Perrin with questions, obtaining short, concise answers from the wizard.
Magic. Magic about hiking speed. From the Wizard College in Dulathanorian. No, Jack can't do this.
But manufacture makes 80 unseen servants. I didn't think you could top that. I should have gone for that one.
Jack mutters. In the morning, Perrin and the giant duck-like contraption are nowhere to be seen, except for the chair that Nick sat in, which was left on the edge of the dock. As the pilgrims try to find him, Kaitor asks,
Where is our new friend Silifrey? She's always so quiet, I can never tell if she's sneaking up on me. Wait, is she behind me right now?
Jack looks over Kaitor's shoulder and briefly sees a hooded figure fade into the shadows.
Yeah, I think she's just keeping her distance.
Let's hope she's safe, and if Perrin comes back, she can direct him to us. Now, should we try to make another boat, or just start walking?
Asks Kaitor. Nick starts walking, and everyone seems to agree. By late afternoon, Kaitor starts to get the sense that they are being watched. Then he hears a twig snap.